Guys.
Peekaboo.
Hi.
It's us.
What's up with it?
We are back.
We
Another episode, another week, live. Episode 185, The History of the
185.
Heroes. And y'all can see we have special guests with us. And it's gonna be a very dope episode. We're gonna learn, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna have a really good time tonight. But hey, get your notepad out. You might want to take some notes, things of that nature, or just store it in your heart and your head because it's gonna be an amazing ride. But you know what? I ain't gonna drive tonight. I'm gonna let Patricia drive. Patricia's gonna be driving tonight. So because these special guests are special guests, like they special. Not just special guests, they special. But I'm gonna let Patricia tell you why they special. Patricia?
So both of them are my actual siblings. That's my brother William and my sister Denisha.
Hey.
Blood related. So they real special, and so I'm excited because not only is it just like, we're in Black History Month and what this is about, but people do a lot of stuff, but when it's somebody that's in your family, whatever, it's different. So I'm excited for this, and they special. When they give y'all their social media handles, don't go messing with them about me. You good? So yeah. All right. But that's why this is real special. They're really my actual brother and sister. I'm excited to be the one to get to have them on our podcast here, and then expose you guys to what it is that they're here for. So I can't wait to get into that too.
Yeah, we're gonna learn you something tonight.
Yeah, close out Black History Month with a bang.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So again, we're happy to have you all join us. When Patricia brought it up, she was like, "Hey, my brother, my sister, they're involved in a project. It's got some very high significance to Black History Month. It's a book. It's a lot of great information, some poems, some, some pictures. It's just a lot going on there. And we were like, you know what, that's perfect. That's perfect
right.
to tie up this Black History Month, because y'all know they only give us a little bit of Black History Month. It's very short. It's very short, but we gonna get it in. And but like I said, I'll let Patricia introduce her siblings and let them tell you a little bit more about them and what they do and the project.
Yeah, for sure. So we could first start off with you, William. You can introduce yourself, what it is that you do. This is where you want to go ahead and toot your own horn. Let us know about you and what makes you who you are.
Well, hi everyone. It's good to finally meet you guys instead of through watching you guys. I'm William. Everyone just says Will. Will Taylor Talks. At Will Taylor Talks. That's my Instagram. I am a writer, a poet, entrepreneur. I just write all the way across the board. So that's the main reason why I'm here. We'll get more into it in a minute, but just a quick introduction. But yeah, I'm Patricia's brother, like we said. Denisha's my sister. And so we did this project together, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. I'm glad to be a part of something just bigger. And so yeah, here it is, Black History, and we get to spread the word about it. So I'm really excited about that. I'm glad to be here with you guys. But yeah, that's me, Will Taylor Talks, and we'll talk more in a few minutes. Take it away, Denisha.
Shout out to Will for already understanding my pain on the show.
All right, and Denisha, same for you. Introduce yourself and tell us a little about your background as well, too.
Oh goodness. Yes, my name is Denisha. I am a historian. I went to school. I have a degree in history, degree in math, and a degree in performing arts. But my passion is history, getting it out there, wanting people to learn, love of talking about history. If you ever get to know me, something's gonna pop out of my mouth, out of some historical fact or some crazy fact. Yeah, I started working with Yokin Black History Association, and we collab with Sandy Yokin, the co-author of the book, to write the book. And here we are, and it's exciting. And social media handle is at Captain underscore Penelope, and it's CAPT underscore Penelope, because I'm a steampunk buff.
Oh.
Okay, and then Will, you didn't even do enough. I'm talking spoken word poet. I'm talking he didn't
Yeah,
talk
he does all that.
colleges. I'm talking like he didn't do enough tooting. So I'm a toot for you. Like this is the way
right.
the way he is with words is ridiculous. I'm gonna just say that. Like this, he handles words beautifully.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't elaborate a lot really, but yeah, I mean, I did graduate from school. I got an undergrad degree in journalism. I got a master's in human development with an emphasis in social change through storytelling. Yeah, I don't know. I always just had a way with words, and I had to find a way to make it my life. So I always said to myself, just growing up, I always wanted to be a writer all the way across the board, whether it was writing a business proposal, writing a book, writing stories, writing a poem. I just always wanted to be a writer all the way across the board. And obviously, you know, growing up when you got influences like Biggie, Tupac, and all of those, like you start words start attaching in your head. I mean, everyone, like, you know, we all listen to music differently, but I'm really big on just words and lyrics. I mean, even today, a lot of people like the way the beat sounds in the car, but I'm really stuck on what they said. And so, yeah, I've had the privilege to travel at different colleges and universities. I've shared the stage with a lot of people who are well known. NAACP Image Award winner Nikki Giovanni, she's a famous poet. Brian McKnight.
Yes.
There's a lot of places that I've been, all with the power of words, and I'm just really passionate just about writing in general. And I always say I'd rather lose my sight than to not be able to express the way I feel. So it's big to me to be able to put something into words. And so for me to create a picture of something and for someone to see it, and however you interpret it, but for me to be able to create it and you know, describe something or be descriptive or say something and create a better picture for you. If I stand up in front of, I've spoken at graduations, if I stand up in front of 5,000 people and I see one person crying, I feel like I've done my job. So yeah, I just love to write.
And he's not lying about his gift of gab, because the many a times we then needed to get into the club or whatever, and
he was on.
Come up real quick.
Yep, he was on.
So he got us in because his pants was red, and that's what he.
Oh my gosh!
And he went and talked his talk and walked his walk, and he was like, "All right, y'all, come on, we all getting in." And I was like, "Huh." But yeah, so that him and whatever comes out of that mouth is always gold. So, but
the red story, that's funny.
No, that's hilarious, and that's really what happened. Like he said, "You don't see my pants I got on."
I don't know what was going on in my mind, but I had these red Ralph Lauren pants. They were more dress pants, but I don't know. You know, you had a. I thought I was on that night, so the pants was the highlight. I made sure everyone knew it.
Like I'm getting y'all in on these
red pants. I only got red pants on. Like, this got to get us in, and I mean, it got us in.
Yeah, we was in there and we was in there fist pumping with everybody.
Mhm.
So Denisha, for you, I know you mentioned history and just how you're a history buff. I know in school for me, history nails to the chalkboard when I was younger. I'd be like, oh my God, like what the heck? Because it just would not. So for me, I've always been fascinated how history is just something that you click to. So what led to like history just being something that just was something that resonates well in your heart that you just wanted to pursue as a career, just it's a lifestyle for you. Really, she really spits out facts.
Right.
That's what's funny was I wasn't the writer, and I didn't like history in high school. I thought it was ridiculous. Just them spewing facts at you and just wanting you to know the days, and it was ridiculous.
Feel my pain.
And I was going to be a rocket. I don't know. I had it in my brain, but I'm too short. When I found out I was too short, that's when it was like, okay, well. So yeah.
But she
I went
was
to
a
college.
professional dancer, guys.
Oh
Yes, I
yeah.
was.
Oh, she left that
Yes, I
part
was.
out.
She had to, her degree in performing arts. She was definitely a professional.
Yeah, I did. I toured. I was a backup dancer. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've had my share. I just I was.
History
I
called
mean,
you,
I'm not
huh?
gonna toot my own horn, but yeah, yeah, I did my thing, and then yeah,
Oh,
it
that's what we're
was.
on here for. We're on here to toot
yes,
the horn
Yeah,
loud and proud.
I
yes.
really thought I was going to be on Broadway. I really thought, but back in that time period, height requirement, it'd be certain size, shape, and all that fun stuff. And
Well,
there,
Benji can relate because
yeah.
see, my dear
I
sister
mean,
here. What are you
basically what
Mind
five?
she's saying,
you, I was good
basically,
at what I did, but yeah.
Are you five
basically what she's
two?
saying, Denisha, is
Because
that
Benji's about
I'm fabulous, you are
There you
no,
fabulous,
go.
Benji's
and
about
you
5 foot even. Then how tall are you, Denisha? Or
Five
short
two,
too?
five
Yes.
two and a half. Yeah.
Okay, gotta put that half on there.
Yeah.
Mom is
listen.
5'1".
Yeah,
My
mom's
She
five one.
like
she
five
going too
two.
far with the gnome references. I ain't with it.
Literally nobody is my height except for I think my brother's right under me, and then
Yeah.
that like
Hmm.
they're all like the
Well, we're
bottom of
all short.
the
Hmm.
so yeah.
It's
But
okay.
yeah, but
I
yeah, I
I understand
danced.
your pain a little bit, just a little bit.
But yeah, I danced. The history, I think I attest a lot to my grandparents because they always talked about their lives growing up, what they did. My grandpa and his funny stories in Louisiana, and my grandmother and her growing up, and her here in Vegas. It just a lot of that. I really love to hear their stories, and a lot of people in my family where you came from, and all about them growing up. But I think what really turned on when I was in college, there was this professor, and he was just so animated. He was acting it out, and he was telling the story. It was like, like you were visualizing it. And next thing I know, I found myself taking a lot of his classes. And all the while, I'm pursuing this math degree and this performing arts degree. And when I went into work, I went to the university because I started off at a community college, and so I transferred to the university. And wanted to kid, I don't know, I still had it in my head. I wanted to do something with math until one of the professors, I got really high up there and didn't know what he was doing. And he's like, yeah, this is not for you. And I'm like, but I'm good. But and I was getting a little too old. The dancing was starting to the wear and tear. It was the wear and tear. So I had to let that alone. And then they looked at me and it was like, you sure did take an awful lot of history. And they was like, you really, if you keep pursuing this, you'll be done within a year. And who knows what you could do. So that's why I started doing it, is I really started to get serious about history, and I loved it. And I mean, I've done projects out here like uh two of the main professors out here. One of them, she taught about the Holocaust and World War II, and I did a project for the school district with that, with the Holocaust and the World War II for that. I interned at the Mob Museum for a year when it very first opened, and yeah, it just, and then one of the professors was like, wow, you're research and you dig and you do this, and he turned me on to a lot of things. And I mean, it was just kind of like this unforeseen passion I had, that I just the history, and I knew I wanted. people to know. And I never realized it. It took my kids to point it out. I was like, I don't know how you didn't see that, because we can't watch or look or nothing or do nothing without you spouting off some fact about it. So, yeah, it's just been something that's always been instilled with me. And I was just without realizing it until somebody brought it to my attention.
So for both of you guys, well, you could be first. Like, what are some of your biggest accomplishments or moments in your career that you're proud of?
Oh, biggest thing
I don't hear them.
I'm proud of. I definitely would say that just where writing has taken me, it's really cool. Like, I mean, you guys heard me say
I lost
Nikki
you
Giovanni,
guys.
Brian McKnight.
I don't hear anything.
Mute yourself real quick, Niche.
Tell her we can hear her.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, go ahead. Well, you can answer. I'll hand over. Sorry.
Yeah, like you guys heard me say Nikki Giovanni, Brian McKnight. Those things were big, but I've had the privilege, like I said, to speak at different colleges and universities. I've won a bunch of poetry championships. I got to speak at the Pan-African Film Festival, and I got booked for Valentine's Day, and that's like one of the hardest things to do. Like if you go, like, there's a big huge Pan-African Film Festival here in LA, and like to get booked on Valentine's Day, a lot of people come from all over to see the films and date. That was something that was really, really fun. But yeah, I mean, I just think everywhere that it takes me, this is one of my new bigger accomplishments, is the completion of this book. But yeah, it's hard to pinpoint one thing in particular. I'm always amazed at where writing has taken me. I mean, I've done interludes for someone for their CD, like yeah. So it's just cool, just where the power of words can take you. And so I can't really say there's one thing that stands out to me, but definitely winning all these poetry championships and different things like that. That's where I started. I never really thought that it was a gift, though. It was like, I've always been good with rhyming things, or I'll play around sometimes and I'll just talk and rhyme. I'll say a bunch of stuff and I'll just make it rhyme. And I might say, for example, if I'm at home, I might be like, all right, for the rest of the night in my mind, and I'm just going, everything that I say is going to rhyme. So like, I'll do that for maybe from here on until we go to sleep. Yeah. So I just always played with words and everything. So that's why it's really cool, like I said, for me to be able to compile it together and then come together with the book and yeah, my speaking now. I mean, I still speak now, and I mean, I'll be coming up at one of the local high schools coming up soon. But yeah, like I think my biggest accomplishments is just to be able to visualize something in my mind and put it into words and live my dream, like be able to use writing as a way to live every day. And so that's what's big to me.
Yeah. So when he speaks about how much writing is, so my nephew, his name is Langston, and
Langston Hughes.
Yeah, exactly. So writing poems and stuff. Yeah.
I want to say this too, while he's talking about that. Two things I observed: his voice tone is great for speaking. Like he said, he did interludes and things like that. I can visualize hearing that on an album. And also, what I was going to ask you too, have you ever thought about doing voiceovers, or have you ever done voiceovers or voices for TV or characters? Because I could hear your voice like on those TV shows, In a World, and they start out and they go in like I could hear that, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm weird. Yeah, I just had all these ideas, but when he was talking, like the wheels were turning. I'm like, yeah, I could hear all of that, what he was talking about. So I completely understand, man. That's dope.
Yeah, no, I definitely I mean, I haven't actually done a voiceover for like a character or something like that, but it's funny, sometimes we'll be places and I could be in a grocery store or something, and the lady behind me in line might tap me on the shoulder. Excuse me, like you have an amazing voice. A lot of people say it a lot, whether I'm just and your voice sounds like you're on the radio. And I thought I have an undergrad degree in journalism. So and I mean, I dabbled with like television and radio, but not actually the speaking part of it. It's funny. It goes back to the writing again. I was a sports writer for CBS, and I used to do the sports segments in the writing, but But yeah, and I don't know how my voice turned out like this. I'm blessed and thankful that it did. So when it is like, whether it's standing up and reciting a poem or something like that and changing the cadence of my voice, I'm thankful to God that he gave me the voice. So but yeah, I never actually done it.
Be a media personality for sure with that voice, for sure.
Yeah, and he talked about the lyrics and it being really into music. And so if you listen to a lot of music, how key voice is, especially with something like hip hop. It's a lot of these guys that can actually rap, but guys that have a distinct voice tend to stick out and what I'm saying, add a different element to it. So I can see that as well. That's dope though, man. Very, very dope.
Yeah, I'm really big on words.
I know you mentioned accomplishments, so now we'll kind of just tap into, you said the book is your big accomplishment, so we can, Janisha, we'll bring her in on this too, but let's talk a little bit about the book. You can tell us the name of it and how you got involved with being a part of this book that's a part of history and speaking about Black history.
Yeah, so the book, it's the Chronicle of Heroes. It's Black Contributions to America. So it's basically a comprehensive exploration of Black history. It challenges the conventional narratives and shares stories of struggles, different things that Blacks endured. And I think the thing that I really love the most is that, we know the typical stories. We know Harriet Tubman. We know the typical stories. But what highlights in the book are those people who didn't get recognized. And that's the part where I really, what I thought was the most interesting of the book itself. There's so many people throughout history that we have no idea, and they were overlooked. And so that's what this book really wanted to focus and highlight on. How I got involved, that's kind of cool. I kind of jumped in late on it. Denisha, she's the super historian here. I'm always impressed with her. Guys, you can't watch a football game with this girl. She might tell you where the stadium, when it first got built and everything. But yeah, she's the super historian. So Denisha was already involved in the project. Sandra Yoakum, as you guys heard, that her and Denisha are the co-authors. Sandra, I'm so thankful for her. She's an amazing woman. You guys might see her here in the future. We were just featured. Our book was just featured on the news in Ohio. Was it Sunday? Yesterday? Yeah, our book was just featured on the news. So Sandra and Denisha are both the co-authors, and then I kind of came in late. So Denisha was already ahead, but then I jumped in. Denisha, maybe you could tell them how you started, and then I can chime in on how I jumped in. Can she hear us? Can she?
Yeah, she can hear us. Nish, you want to unmute? You want to let us know how it is that you got involved?
She started it first, and I came on later. So,
Nish, can you hear us? Okay, unmute.
Yeah.
You're muted there.
Yeah, I think she might be having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I think so. So she got pulled in by Sandra Yoakum to do the book on history. And this is the book here. And they really kept it simple. Instead of doing long chapters with, just based off of one person, they try to do little snippets. As you can see, it's a different picture with some fun facts next to them, the years that they, were alive and what it was that they did in history to contribute to Black history. So it's not our typical stories. Now, they are included, of course, like the Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King, but it goes deeper than that in different ways that they were involved, all the way down to nurses and, firemen, and just in different fields of history where Black history for us, we wouldn't even know. And there's a lot of Black history that we're finding out today about ourselves. So that's what this book and the purpose of this book was, to shine light on a different aspect of just immerse us more into Black history itself. So that's what their focus was, to bring that to us. And then as my sister was letting us know about the book, her and my brother were talking back and forth. We have this group text, and then she's like, wait, Sandra would love to pull you in, do a poem or something. They started collabing, and I'm hearing about the book, but I'm crazy busy. So like she sends like a little snippet of like the front part when she like kind of introduces stuff. And she's like, what do you guys think? And I'm like, yo, this sounds like dope. Like for me, like Black history growing up in the schools and stuff, it's the same old thing. Like even my daughter, we're in Black History Month, and she said, Mom, all the Black history that they did, they keep it's the same thing. And I said, yeah, that's all they're gonna do. And so when she told me about it, and this has been going on for a while, I can't speak to the exact time. Maybe when she gets back in, we can talk about that itself. But that's when she tapped in with my brother here. And then that's when she had him do 2 poems. So Will, when it comes to the poems that you were, I believe it's 2, right?
Well, it's a total of 3. So yeah, originally, like how Patricia said, the book, they had already had started with it, and that's what's unique. It's different little vignettes, little small stories of different. So another thing that I think is really cool about the book is it's a really easy read. I mean, you could a 5-year-old can pick it up. I mean, all the way till an adult. And the way the book is kind of laid out, it's almost like an encyclopedia. You could just flip to a person and boom, like, you know, and it doesn't give over too much information, but it gives you like enough, and where it triggers your thoughts about this person. You might want to do some more exploration, but it was able to cover a lot of different people. So Denisha and Sandy were writing the book together, and then and how did I came in? I know that Sandy had heard one of the poems that I did, but the poem that I actually did, the first poem in the book, it's called Memories. So I actually originally had wrote the poem because my grandmother passed away. And so the poem was in the obituary. And then somehow, I don't remember how that story connected, but Sandy had heard the poem that was in the obituary, and she really liked it and was like, whoa. And so Denisha's like, well, that's my brother. And she's like, what? That's your brother? So so originally the poem that was for, unfortunately, a funeral, it turned out to be one of the first poems in the book, which I think that's cool too. I mean, it's a great way to honor my grandmother, and that's forever in the book. But yeah, originally it was a poem like that was in the obituary, and then once she heard that, she's like, well, I wonder if he could like write something else maybe. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. My mind just started racing, and then there was another poem, and then came there was another an extension of the book was like with getting into the Underground Railroad. Then like my mind, it just started racing again. And I think it was a week or so later, and I was like, hey, I got something about that too that I wrote. And so obviously I presented to the board and everyone, and yeah, it just and writing it itself was one thing, but then I think once I presented it to everyone else, they were able to hear it, and they were like, whoa, like the way you say it compared to the way I read it is something completely different. So one thing that's very cool and unique about the book, I'm pretty proud of, that wherever the book is distributed and wherever the book is distributed, people can hear my voice. So the book is very interactive. You can use the barcode in the book. You could scan it with your phone, and you could literally hear me recite the poems. So that's something that I think adds a unique flair to the book. So
that's pretty cool.
Something different. Yeah.
Right.
And so, well, that for one, I learned later that you could scan the QR code and hear you actually read the poem. So I think that's a pretty like unique feature to add to a book. It kind of becomes more interactive. And like he said, which I can agree, you could read a poem, but there's nothing like hearing the poem read by the actual author of the poem. So I think that's dope that you guys integrated that into that. And I love the fact that our grandma's poem was what sparked it. So Denisha, we're going to get into now with you in the book and how that journey started for you. How did you become a co-author of the book? And just how that all came to fruition with you with joining in on the book creation. Oh, we cannot hear. No.
We can't hear still.
No.
It keeps going out. Some keeps going on.
Yeah. Reload you maybe. I don't know. Okay.
I think she tried it a couple times to do that.
Or go to the settings for your mic and make sure that it's set to iPhone. I think
Well, just a quick question. If you could say, what is your favorite poem that you have done up until this date that make you maybe the most proudest at this point in your life?
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a really tough question. My favorite poem is the one that's not written yet.
Good response.
Yeah, because it's constant. It's bad, guys. You guys don't know. I have so many notes on my phone. I mean, if I'm in the passenger seat just riding in the car, so I'd have, there's so many poems that are half written, not unfinished, or this was something I might have wrote years ago, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect for what I'm writing now, and so let me add that to this. So it's really bad. My brain it's wild. But I just so I can't. It's hard to say a favorite one. I mean, I know people attract to certain ones. The more like where I performed like poems, and like I said, I've had the privilege of winning like poetry championships. Like I've won the Poet Slam King. I've won so certain poems some people have attracted to more. One poem I will say is there's a poem that I did and it's like a teenage kid, and he's kind of battling like mentally with his he's listening to Biggie and Tupac. So like So he's kind of battling like between like the lyrics, and then but it's really cool because he's like, when I die, I want to go to hell, and then he's talking like he's singing the Biggie lyrics to himself, but then it's kind of how the poem wraps up at the end. He's like, but at the end of the song, the verse says you got to keep your head up. So it's kind of cool. So we end on a Tupac note, and so a lot of like teenagers and kids, they really really love that. So I spit Biggie lyrics and Tupac lyrics in between the poem, but it still has a message at the end, and it's keep your head up. So a lot of my speeches and stuff, when I do go to colleges, universities, high school, I usually lecture, and I'll do a lecture, and whether it's usually something about being your best self or living your best life, and one thing that's really cool is like I may be talking just like we are, and I'll ease into a poem, and I'll start like, and kids are like sitting up, wait, is he rhyming? How did he do that? So I'll still be talking about whatever it is we're discussing, and it's relevant to whatever we're talking about, but then I'll just ease into a poem, but and it'll relate to whatever it is, and so to say I have a favorite one, I don't know. I really
I bet you that's kind of like asking which is your favorite child. You know what I'm saying? Like you really can't give that answer, but the answer that you did give is a dope answer, because I know I can't say I'm on your level by any means. I'm not saying that at all, but I too have a phone full of ideas, jokes, all kind of stuff that I start writing, that I think about, and every now and again I go back. I'll go through my phone and look at something from notes from 2016 and be like, oh man, I totally forgot about this idea. And to be honest with you, with this show, we started in 2020, but I started having ideas about this show back in like 2015, 2016. So like I completely understand when you have this constant flow of thoughts and words and things, just ideas, and it's like so hard to kind of put the pieces together at that moment, but you don't want to forget about it, so you just jot it down real quick. Or even for me, like I started using my notes on my phone. Like I just record it. Like if I'm in the car, if I'm driving, I'll just put the microphone up to my mouth, and then I'll just say whatever the idea is, and capture it that way. Yeah, because it's so much. But like I said, man, that's dope, man. You got a lot of dope stuff going on, and I'm very interested in it because, like I said, I mean, with us growing up in the generation we grew up in, lyrics is big, and I have these conversations with my kids. Now the producer is bigger than the artist for the most part, because people listen for the beat rather than the words, and they say, well, I can't dance to that. Well, I'm like, I'm not trying to dance to that. I'm trying to listen to the lyrics. I ain't trying to twerk. So we're on two different pages here.
Right.
Yeah.
What's amazing Well, I'm sorry, but what's amazing about that is that this is so funny. If do you ever think of writing songs and stuff like that? Because I write music. And
Oh
so I
yeah.
write these things down and I keep them and I hold on dear to them. And then, like Kim was saying, you put them in a note and then you go back to it and you just kind of add words to it and add. Do you ever get into that space as well?
All the time. I mean, I even have songs, but I just can't sing, but I know how it should sound. And I
Right,
already
right.
have them like written down. And I can't sing to save my life, but I don't know. I think our family too, we got so many musicians that are growing up in our family. So listening to music all the way across the board, I'm probably one of the only ones who don't know how to play an instrument out of everyone in our family. But listening to music all the way across the board, from my grandmother playing the piano to listening to, you know, blues, jazz, like obviously rap, hip hop. Like, I mean, I listen to country songs. Like, there is no limit to the type of music that I like, because again, it goes back to the words. So
Right.
I'm just huge on words. And so yeah, just like you said, I have so many things. I have stage plays written down that I've just been hanging on years, and I'm like, oh, wait till I hit them with this. And it's just like it's
Right.
whether it's, like I said, stage lyrics. I have books half written, poems. I mean, it's bad. I write on my hand. I mean, it's just wherever, and you just don't know. I mean, you, like you said, you got it, Big Ken. I mean, the inspiration hits, right? You guys, like you said, Vinci, you write songs, like it just sometimes it hits you. You don't know where it's gonna come from, and whether I just got to get it out of me though before, you know, you don't want to lose that thought in you. So you'll spit it out in your phone or you write it down or something like that. And so yeah, it's pretty bad. So like I said, to be able to do something like this and bring it into a book, it's neat, because I'm so excited that, like, I mean, it's not only about me, just this whole book in general. I mean, the world needs to see this, and so to be able to be a part of it, it's just really it's a blessing. I'm really happy that they thought enough of me, my words, to bring me in on the project. So I was so thankful to Denisha and Sandy, and to be able to say, hey, I did this with my sister. Like, hey, that's huge.
All right. So Denisha, we got you here, and
Yes.
welcome back.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties happen we're live, so this is what we
Change
do.
platforms, but I'm good.
That's all right, guys.
So
Denisha, I don't know if she heard us though, but maybe you could tell them. I don't want to take over the show, but I don't know how you started, but then I was telling them that I came in later onto the project.
Oh
yeah, we're gonna circle. We're gonna take it back now. We want to hear from you about the book, how you became involved with the book, how it all started, the journey, and how you got there, and how Will got there with you.
So I guess I love talking about history. I love teaching history. So I figured I wanted to find a way to get it out. I was trying to start a blog, and I did, but I didn't. Like, I was writing stuff here and there, but I was trying to make it like more unique and different. Like, okay, everybody knows about Custer's Last Stand. Well, it's Women's Month. Whoever thought about his wife and what she did for him? And I studied her life, and wrote a blog about her because Custer went down, but what she really defended her man. Oh my goodness. But, and I was doing research like that, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to get this blog out there? How am I going to get this noticed? And that's when I ran across the Yoakum Black History .org, the YAHA, or Yoakum African American History Association, because I was doing research and they had a story on there. And I looked on the website and I thought, boy, it was really well organized, interesting, different history. And so I did just one of those, went on the Facebooks. Wow, this is really neat. And went on the webpage, signed up for the newsletter, and just wrote them a little, wow, I like this. I really enjoy this. I'm a historian. Kind of did a little self intro and complimented them on how well the page was. And the next thing, I got this email saying, the president of the board of the association would like to speak to you. But no, I'm still in my brain, I'm not thinking. I'm like, whatever, but she reached out, email, we connected, a phone call, nice long conversation, met, introduced to each other. and really found out we had a lot of the same interests and a lot of the same ideas and a lot of the same ones when it came to history and wanting it to get out there, wanting it to be learned. And so that's when I started working with her. I started writing blogs for her, and some of my blogs are on the website, and some things from the newsletter as well. And then she told me, she said, I get a lot of comments and um, people wanting the posts that she makes on Facebook and Instagram to be out there and to be somewhere where they could all get in one place. Because she posts something like probably just about every day, every other day about some historical Black history fact all the time. And so she thought, well, you know what? It would be nice if this were all in a book. And so that's when we got together. And that's when the idea was born for the book. And we wanted the book to highlight the heroes. That was the important part. It wanted to be, you always hear the enslavement, you always hear the bad stories, you hear the usual stories, you have the names that everybody can name. But what about those successes? What about that resilience? What about that cooperation? What about that what about all the triumphs during that time? I mean, there was a lot going on during that time. But yes, there was slavery, but yes, there was also inventors, and there was people in the North doing fabulous and wonderful things. And one of the things that I could say, for every piece of American history, there's a piece of Black history that goes with it, for every piece. And and so that was the main part of the book. And we weren't going to focus on athletics or entertainment because that's usually the role model. No, we want the role models to be everyday people that were living in their world, and they triumphed and they succeeded in this. So yeah, that's how the book was born. And so then I got together with her, and I did a lot of the research and the digging, because that's probably one of my favorite things, is finding the facts and making sure they are the facts of the facts of the facts. And then I'll go boast about the facts later on, because
Right.
but yeah.
How long did that take for you guys to, once the thought was born and the idea of the book was born, how long were you guys creating the book?
It has been in the making over 2 years of this book.
2 years.
A lot of it involved me writing out, researching, writing letters, getting letters back, making sure I had the right information, making sure facts were correct, dates were correct, names were correct. One of the pictures in the book I found, I was hanging in the library, the actual picture, and so I wrote the library to get the information on that, and how I got, all that. So yeah, 2 years in the making.
Some real footwork that went into it.
Really just throw it out there. Right.
Yeah, she didn't just go Google something and say, this is what they told me, so it's in the book. Like, she went, and this is what's great about her and just history itself. Like, she's gonna go actually find the information, dig for the information, get the facts, and if she can get the actual real on anything, she's gonna go reach out to that source to get it. So that's amazing.
I'm going to find as best I could where it came from and get it from that source. And that's how I get to make sure I get the facts right and get the story. And so, yeah. And then, like I said, every part of history has Black history into it. And I tell people, name something in history, and I can give you a story of something that happened in Black history there.
You said that. I was looking at a clip from Instagram. I think it was Carrie Washington. I can't think of her name, but they were talking about what is something that you would love to stop hearing, and then she said, "Just stop congratulating the Black first. Like, I would love when it's no more. This is the first time a Black person did this." She said, "Because we always been in the room. We've been there. We've
been doing it. Yeah."
Like, and so it's just like we're barely being acknowledged. She said she can't wait for the time when people can understand that we've been doing this. This has been history. This has been us. What you just said reminds me of that statement when I watched that video.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's 700 plus photos in here, right, Denisha?
Over 740 photos.
Wow.
Yes. So
now, Janisha,
did her homework.
Denisha, what would be one of your favorite moments in there that you, oh, this is something I wanted to look at a little bit further because there, I know it's a vast majority of people that are in there. What was one of those moments that was like, oh, I'm going to dig a little bit more into that. Who was that, and who was that person, or what was that moment? Was
Oh my
there?
goodness. One. Choose one. Okay. Um, I think one area I really got stuck on, spending a lot of time because I kept going off into tangents with it. And she kept going, "Are you done with this section? Are you done with this section?" Because I kept just digging and digging. And then I went off to this road and dug another rabbit hole and then another rabbit hole. I will have to say that time period from when the American West was going into the Gilded Age, because so much was going on. We're coming out of America West. We're coming out of the Civil War, where the Reconstruction was not the way that everybody thought it was going to be. Everybody's going west. Everybody's going north. Everybody's trying to find their way. And then all of a sudden, you did get this first, yeah, we don't know what we're going to do, but then all of a sudden we're going into that Gilded Age, and there are people there are successes. There's pharmacists, there's people owning their own businesses, there's dressmakers, hairstylists, people in middle and upper class that you didn't know about, and you're seeing that transition of them coming out of this, well, what am I going to do now, to these success stories and living high in society amongst amongst everyone else and a part of society, the biggest part of society, and watching that develop and go into that, I think, was one of my favorite things to learn about and to write about. So it's just like that end of probably the dying out of the American West, but going into the Gilded Age and going into that turn of the century, and that in itself in American history is a big deal in itself, because once again you see the country really solidifying itself as a country, because it's coming out of that rough American age, and we're getting the working class, we're getting the upper class, the middle class, we're getting the different classes, and we're seeing everybody established there, and that includes Black and African Americans as well. But it's not this separate piece of history. This is all one American history in there, and it's all growing and it's establishing into what we are growing into where we are now.
So, in the journey of creating the book, and William was telling us about it and how you guys got into the creation. You said it took 2 years, and William told us how he jumped in kind of not at the end of that 2-year journey. What brought Will in? Like what moment was it? Like bring us in. We'll bring him in. He was telling us a little bit.
We really wanted this book. We really wanted this book to really get out there and make its mark, and it really wanted to appeal to all audiences. And we were thinking of what to do, or what more to do, or where to go and where to add, what we were going to do next. And I think we were just having this conversation, and I was like, my brother wrote this awesome poem, from my grandmother. And so I sent it to her, and she read it, and she was like, "Oh, that's magnificent." I was like, no, you have to hear him read it. You can't just read it. You got to hear him, So she did. We got him on the phone. He read it, and she was just like, "Oh my goodness." And she goes, do you think he'd mind if we put that in the book? And so I'm like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't," but I asked Will anyway. And he wanted to be in the book. And then so after that, it was a matter of where to put it. But we found out it would be probably one of the best things to look at first, be memories, because it's history and memories. And then, you think you could do more? So yeah, the one about the Underground Railroad, because that's something that's really profound to everybody when it comes to Black history. That's probably one of the first things is Underground Railroad. So I was like, during that time I was doing the write up, and so I just asked Will. I was like, "You have a poem about that?" So yeah, and so that's how we got that one. And then with the conclusion, he showed me this other poem, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to introduce my conclusion to the book. And it just perfectly melds in his poem right into my conclusion to end the book. So he began in the middle and then Sir William. So yeah.
Denisha and I are always back and forth, like whether Denisha's like, "Oh, read this and then tell me what you think," like, edit this down for me or something like that, or I'm sending her something of someone in Black history. Oh, do you know about this person? And Denisha's already 2 steps ahead of me. Oh yeah. I'm like, man, who don't you know? Like, but yeah, we're always sending each other stuff back and forth. And then like, I didn't know that's how I knew that the first poem was about my grandmother. I didn't know how Sandy had got a hold of it, but yeah, like I said, I came in late, but like how we were talking earlier, my brain kind of starts racing, and then once like Denisha tells me she's writing on something, it's like boom, like I don't know, the poem just came out of nowhere, and then I'm like, oh, I got something for that. I got something for that. They just started flowing, and then it really came together really nicely. I'm really proud of it. Oh, that will bring up something too. I forgot. You guys asked earlier what was one of my proudest moments. I can't believe I let that slip past me. Our book is going to be in the African American History Museum in Ohio.
Yeah,
yes.
I was
There you go.
I was literally getting ready to allow you guys to plug that. So Denisha will. William did a little. He throws out little pieces, and I was like, oh, because he said, they were recently featured on the news in Ohio, and that is why as well. I mean, just in general, to speak on the book itself, but also the fact that now the museum bought 100 copies to feature in the museum. So Denisha, let's toot that horn. What's going on?
I'm gonna get my little cheat sheet here. So the gentleman's name is Todd. Yeah, I got my speaking of notebooks inspiration, dude, I don't even want to begin to tell you how many notebooks and crates I have of research. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Nobody likes to move me if I move.
Look, speaking, did you get the stuff that I sent? They have some things for you when in unpacking. I mean, packing mom's house. It was some history, and I said, give it to Niche. Give it to Niche.
Yes, they did.
Like literally like you. But so
they don't like moving me because I have all my books and all my research and that the crates and that's everybody's like no, we're not, no, but
that's dope though, to be able to pass history down like that. I think that's dope though.
But this museum, the person that started the museum, his name is Todd. It's in Columbus, Ohio. He's amazing. His father was a Tuskegee Airman. And the museum is called the Columbus Museum of African American History and Culture. That's why I had to get my cheat sheet. And it's in Columbus, Ohio. It's in the backyard of Ohio State, the Buckeyes. Old school, been around forever. And I just shoot off. And then
they just won the championship.
They sure did. Sure did. One of the most predominant schools around. Very historic, old school. But that's his museum. He started it out. He started collecting. He was inspired, of course, by his father. And then he's going to be working with the Oakham African American History Association, probably as far as education goes with the museum. So I am in the process now that I finished a book of creating lesson plans for his museum. So he's the one that the museum has our book. And
That's dope.
Mm-hmm. And I just also found out right before I came in here that a library, and I didn't get the name, but it is a library that now has our book too.
Oh, okay. I just love how it's literally just spreading, like it's taken off. And
the library, it's the Chardon Library on the east side. I think I'm saying it right. CHARDIN. It's the Chardon Library on the east side in Ohio. So they just got the book too, and we're working on some other things with that. But that's a proud moment. That's a proud moment.
Right?
And we've been on the news. Sandy was on the news in Ohio, introducing the book, and many people bought the book off of that website. So it's really spreading. It's really getting out there, and what we really wanted to accomplish with this book is just to get the story out there and make sure to know that there are stories of people in history, that it's not all bad. It's wonderful,
Right.
wonderful, great stories. Wonderful.
That's another thing that's really neat too. Like you heard Denisha say she was writing lesson plans. I mean, I mean, it's very educational. Like there's certain sections of the book where there's just straight lesson plans where you could really teach a class on it, you know. So that I think that's really neat too. That it, like I said, it's like it could be readable by a 6-7-year-old all the way up to a grown adult.
Yeah.
So it's very informative.
I need me a couple copies for sure. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug in the website. Make sure you guys know where to go to it. They have it on their social media platforms at the end. We'll make sure you guys know where you guys can get a copy of this book, so you guys can have it.
Every time I open it, I'm learning something new too.
Right, I can imagine. You say it's 720,
740, over 740.
So that's 740 individual stories.
Yeah.
Black history, correct?
And we want you to be able to look at this and say, "Oh, this person. Wow, I want to know more about this person." So that's what we want you to do.
I like so in that being said, there's like 740 different photos in there, which means different stories that are told just in reference to history itself, Denisha. Like, and I'm sure William, and this is all of us here on the Fire Session. This Black history, what we've learned throughout time, like how throughout your guys' journey within history, how much of history is just not history for us, like that they teach us, and then you guys go and create this book and you find this real true history, like how much of that history that
we're getting the 12 o'clock story. That's how I always call it. We get the glossed over story.
Right.
We don't get the whole story, you know. I mean, we know the 1619, we know that, and we know there's slaves, but I mean, you got
I mean, do you know? Like there's a prominent Black family on the Titanic. Like, I mean, Denisha, there's a person who became a famous doctor who never went to medical school. I mean, it's just some wild story that it's just really cool.
Well, that was one of my challenges.
Harris. Is that was Vivian Harris in you guys' book? Is he in there?
Who?
Vivian Harris, the man who created the open heart surgery.
Yes.
Yeah. See
Also,
now I know we could have for sure.
Dr. Stephen Alexander's in there.
Yes.
Theoretical physicist who plays music, who wrote the Jazz and Physics, a book. The guy who, the signature on Beverly Hills, that's a Black man's handwriting. The Beverly Hills Hotel. It's a Black man's handwriting.
That I knew, yes. I mean, gosh, there's just so much history. This sounds like the book.
That sounds like little fun facts.
Right.
Yeah.
How good was it to feel like, oh gosh, I got this accomplished? How did you feel after that?
Oh my goodness. When we got done, I was like, oh, we're done. And then it was just a matter of getting it out there, making sure it was okay. I didn't realize so much was involved in writing a book. I didn't until we went on this journey. And, we just had to make sure everything was perfect. I mean, page by page. And Sandy is amazing. She's so wow, she's so brilliant. And then the lady who put it together for us is Marlene. She's amazing. And once this was done, I don't think it hit me. And we're watching the Super Bowl. And I'm just sitting there, of course, running my mouth about the Louisiana. And then they went and got the mail. It was after halftime. They went and got the mail. And so my daughter's like, it's here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever. It's here. And she goes, no, it's here. And so she opens it up. And I'm like, oh, my God, my name's on a book. It struck me. I was like, oh, my goodness. I was like, there's Sandy's name. There's my name. And I opened it up. I was like, oh, there's William's poem. And oh, my goodness. I was like, it was huge. I felt like, I was like, wow, we did that. I was like, man, I was like a little kid, just like I still am right now. I'm holding my hands because my hands would be all over the place right now. But it's just, oh my goodness. It's
a huge accomplishment. I mean, after all those years, and then for it to all come together I know so many different stories that Denisha has sent me and talking about it. So to see it
Mhm.
all come together, I mean, it's very, very nicely put together. I love the way it's laid out. The pictures are very crisp and clear. It's not a little small book that you put in your back pocket. It's a coffee table book. It's a pretty decent size. So yeah, and I mean, I think I'd have to say the same as Denisha. When I got my copy in the mail, I was like, whoa, that's so neat just to see it all together. And I don't know how many times I've listened, scanned the barcode and heard myself, and I'm like, oh, that's really me, because I can picture myself in the actual recording studio recording, and I'm like, wow, it's in a museum. So now whoever gets the book can actually hear my voice. It's like it's just really like it's really cool for it all to come together.
2 years, right? 2 years, right?
2 years, over 2 years, yeah.
Wow.
I have a question that's not book related, but Denisha is such a historian. I can't move on without asking this question, because this is such a big thing for me and my family, and for Black people in general. Now you see a lot of shows, and there's a couple of specific shows that are out there now that are big on family history, right?
Yeah.
I would like to hear your stance on why do you think that it has fallen off the map, where especially Black people don't have or not interested in documenting their family history? Because I think that that's a huge issue as we move on. Our kids, our grandkids, and things like that in the future, I'm afraid that they won't know who their ancestors were, who we even were, at a point, because it's like time is moving on and nobody's really these kids aren't really interested in history, right? You can talk to them about it, but they're not really interested in it. Their mind is on so many other things. So but this book is a piece of something that people can give to kids, family members, and things that might spawn that love for wanting to know more. But I just wanted to know your outlook on family history. Like, how do you think that we can push that narrative forward, where people can get back into that and want to know more about their family history?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's important. I mean, what they teach you in school is just a lot of dry facts. You have to really go beyond that and really discover for yourself. With the book, that's what we wanted to do. Was we really wanted to wake up and say that there's this is not a history, it's a story. And I think that's why it faded away. It's because it's a part of the story that everybody's trying to hide, gloss over, erase, do away with. Like, I probably upset a lot of people, but they say, oh, we're going to tear down this general from the South. Why are you tearing that down? Yes, that was a Southern general, but that's what happened. And that's what got us where we are today. And he was a general for his regiment and his people. And he was did something for the South, but it also got us to where we are today. So why are we tearing that down? It's there, it's history. I don't care how you try to hide it, gloss over it. You can't make it go away, because it's put us to where we are. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is they're trying to make the bad stuff go away, and we're going to make good history. But you need that whole entire story if you want to know American history. You can't just leave out pieces here and there and think you're going to have and know the true history. You have to have that whole story. It's important. It's a legacy, and it's gonna like one of the historical preservationists for the Smithsonian was a Black gentleman. I'm gonna get my cheat sheet again because his name Lonnie G. Bunch III. He's the one that says you honor ancestors by keeping their stories alive, by telling their history. And this is all of our ancestors in American history. We don't know. I mean, this land right here, I think learning colonial history is because, we're coming here. It's a whole new land, and you're making your stand here. And then we were brought here and we became a part of it. You can't leave none of that out. It's all in the whole story. And that's what's happening is they're trying to erase, and let's just only talk about what's cool and good, and you're leaving all the important stuff out. So when you're going, so now today you have those that just the background that's not important. It's all about the future. When you got to have that foundation to
Yeah.
Right.
to build up. Yeah, you got to have that strong foundation to build up. And if you don't know that foundation, how are you going to rise and keep it up and keep it sturdy and keep it strong?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So,
it's funny because the thought that's into my head is, why do you think that Black history, all of it, how important it is to us? Why do you believe that people are trying to remove it? The
mhm,
first thought that came to my mind is back then it was told, don't teach my Negroes to read.
mhm,
They didn't want you to read. They didn't want you to understand. Why
right.
do you think nowadays it's so hard for us to want to read? Why do you believe that?
I think that's what drove it before, because even back then, those when we were told not to read, there were those that were going to do it. They like those you hear stories of ones that they would listen in while they were doing their work, or some learned, or through schooling, or if one learned and they would go out and teach it to the others. So they're gonna find a way. It's going to find a way. Education, history, reading, literacy. It's gonna find a way. It's really important. One of our board members is very passionate about literacy and reading, and how the youth, the attention span is just like that. And that's another reason why our book is the way it is, because you got a quick little fact there that you got there and didn't realize that in like 2 minutes. But but that's gonna gloss your mind up. Wait, I want to know more. So I think it's just going back to, you really want to solidify that foundation, and it's still like that desire there and that drive is there, and even more so. And I think some of the younger ones are starting to realize and look back that, no, maybe maybe they got something back there back then. We need to know this.
Yeah,
you
Right,
know.
I think kids,
Mhm.
like, yeah, they're losing the grasp of, like, yeah, of like their history, like what the Ken
Yeah.
asked earlier. Like, I mean, the last poem in the book called Our Story, and I started off,
Yeah.
we know history to be his story, because that's, they teach us what they wanted us to know. They're trying to shape our brain, and I think this book is perfect. I mean, just to even spark the conversation, if you do got a little one at home. I think Sandy was even saying when she was on the news the other day that the newscaster got some books for her children. So I
Hmm.
think so. A book like this is perfect, like Denisha said, because it's their attention span is so small, so it's not so long and this big story. But then at the same time, you hit it in with a little bit of poetry and stuff, so you arouse their interest more. I would like to think so. That if we keep doing and
Hmm.
producing stuff like this, where we're mixing like the old with the new. We give them a little bit of
Yeah.
history, but then we give them a little bit of something that rhymes too, but it's still
Yeah.
relatable to this. I
Hmm.
think that their interest more, and it will make them wanna learn more. So I think this book really accomplishes just that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Hmm.
yeah.
So if
Most definitely.
little question just to kind of, see what you guys would say. So if like a young writer or poet, if they're listening right now, what's something you wish you knew at the start of your guys' journey?
The journey of the book, or just in general?
Yeah, we can go. Well, since we're touching on the book, we'll go with the book.
It's funny. One day I was telling Sandy, and I'll go into the book too, that the movie from Hidden Figures, those women. If I knew those women back when I was growing up, I probably wouldn't have been so embarrassed to be so smart and math back in the day, because I used to hide it. I used to. It wasn't cool. In the
Yeah.
80s, you're smart, you're a nerd. No way. But those women, when I saw that movie, I think it brought tears to my eyes, because I wish I would have known about them back then. I probably would have had a different take. I probably would have been a math historian. I don't know, but the historian's still there. But even with the book, um, I really just wanted to know, did people know that There's a whole story out there that needs to be told. It's not bits and pieces. It's not all bad. It's some great things. It's funny things. It's good things. It's joyous things. I mean, there's even a black man that wrote a dime novel. Yeah, I mean, it's so much. And, and I'm glad we just got to introduce so many bits and pieces of this so you can be interested and just want to go seek out more.
Okay.
I think for me as a writer / poet, I think that I mean, I got my sisters here with me. Like we didn't grow up obviously in the white picket fence, the perfect house. I don't know if they knew this. I was writing way back then. So I mean, like and so as a writer or poet, like I said, I came on late to the project, but that's neither here nor there. But as a writer, and whether it's someone listening or I think it's important for just to allow your voice to be heard. I wasn't until I was like 24, I think 23, 24 is the first time I ever actually like said something in the form of a poem. But I've been having it in my head. And like I played football in college and like I got certain little hints that give it away, little tattoos here and there and it's like, what is that? You right? What does that mean? Like, you're in the locker room and stuff. And so like, and I never really said anything about it. And then to when I got invited to a poetry reading one night and I was in college and then oh man, I lost my mind. I never missed. It was like when I was hearing these people speak and I was like, oh, this is amazing. So then when I finally took my stab at it, I took second in a poetry contest and people like, where'd you get that from? Where'd you make that story up? I'm like, oh no, that was my family. Like I didn't make that up. Like that was real. So yeah, and so obviously it wasn't about the winning a contest or anything, but that's what I said to like as a young writer, like to don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. I mean, that's what we got. It's our voice. You gotta stand up for something. You speak what's on your mind, and that's just all the way across the board. And it's really, really cool. Like we said, we're able to highlight all of these different people historically, and I'm glad that it came full circle that I was able to be a part of it. But yeah, as a young person writing, I mean, don't be afraid. It's not silly to write, or it's not or oh, I'm not writing that paper. I mean, or whatever. It's not silly. Don't be afraid to allow your voice be heard. Like I said earlier, I'd rather lose my sight than lose my sense of expression. That's the way we communicate with the outside world. That's the way we're talking right now. Like if none of us had a voice, this session wouldn't even be happening. I mean, so, and for whether it's like how you meet your significant other, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, like that's all words. Like so yeah, I think it's really, really big. So I like don't be afraid to let your voice be heard and don't shy away from it.
I think that's where the true spark hit me too, is during COVID when we were all stuck inside and everybody was protesting, and Black Lives Matter really, really came out and exploded. I started to look back, and some people were talking, but didn't know what they were talking about, and I was like,
the facts
you have no idea, but you fight for your right. So I sat down and I wrote and I started writing and I said, I wrote this little piece. I think I put it on my website, and not website, it's on my Facebook, my historic Facebook. And then I wrote like, how are you going to have a voice that's so quiet when it's not empowered by knowledge? And then that's when I really started. I really want people to know. I really want people to hear. And that's when I started trying to dabble into the blog. And I started, dare to dream. And then my sisters and brothers, they always talk about just do it. I'm probably the one that I'll sit back and be like, I'm gonna just sit here, I'm gonna write my stuff. Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I'm the I'm the one that sits in the shadows while everybody else runs for the dream. But I also I want it to be heard, and I'm gonna find my silent way to do it. And I did it through words in the book, and because that knowledge brings empowerment, and it really makes that voice loud and proud and be heard. And that really sparked me. It was during that movement. So just dare to dream, but make sure there's some empowerment and knowledge behind that voice, so it could be long and strong and loud.
Right.
Okay.
Your words are powerful. I mean, what's everyone talking about right now? The whole Kendrick Lamar beef. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he rocked it at the Super Bowl, but a beef wouldn't be a beef unless there were words. That's what you're listening to. Wait, what are they saying? And so yeah, I mean, and we're talking about so for some of those who maybe didn't understand what was going on at the Super Bowl or whatever, this man won a Pulitzer Prize. We're not talking about just a rapper right here. Like those is words.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
He sure did.
So for both of you guys, writing this book, your poems, you guys talked a bit about your guys' background and how you guys got to where you are today. Just where are you guys hoping this journey continues to take you guys? Where do you see yourselves in the next, 5-10 years with everything that you guys are doing or hoping to accomplish?
Oh my goodness.
Definitely more writing. I know me and Denise will be popping up in Ohio, and hopefully we can do something there.
Yeah, I'm going too.
Yeah, like I have a vision in my head that hopefully I could do some of the poems live, and Denisha can talk about it. That's a short-term goal, but I'd say for me in 5 years, I mean, I already have some other stuff written, and I know myself, like how I was telling you guys earlier, I got some stage plays already written. I got some stuff already that's working. So I mean, you'll see me more. Just I'll be speaking all over the place, different colleges, different universities. I have a how-to book that you'll see coming up. I taught students how to save money by using their student ID. So you'll see that. But yeah, just you'll see writing from me all the way across the board. It might not necessarily be only poetry. So when you are watching that play or something, you're like, wait, that's the guy who wrote in that book. So it'll be writing all the way across the board. More writing, more speaking for me. And hopefully more we can add on to this book here and maybe make another one or two or something, huh, Denisha?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that ham has not totally left out of me. I mean, I was a dancer. I was a ham. I loved performing in front of a crowd. I love the crowd. And it's funny, I'm probably a quiet one up close, but on a crowd, I turn on. And I hope I love giving lectures. I want to speak more. I think I'm supposed to speak as an alum out here at the college.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping to do lectures. I'm hoping to go to museums. I'm hoping to do events. I'm hoping to me and Sandy collaborate and do so much more and really make that site really be something wonderful. And more writing, but maybe we see how this does, and maybe a volume 2. Maybe we'll see.
And you know what? When you say out here, I apologize. Las Vegas. So
Las Vegas, Nevada.
William is here in California, Southern California. He is in, what city are you in now?
I'm still like Pasadena right here. I'm on the border of Pasadena. Okay. I'm from Pasadena.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Family history established here, so that's where I'm at. And I will be talking, hopefully, maybe we'll see, and Nevada State, where I came from, and maybe other colleges and libraries and museums. My biggest thing is to be in a museum, so we'll see.
I mean, hey, you guys are already, the book itself is already touching down in the museum. So, I mean, you're scratching the surface, and Benji and always, anytime we have anybody on, they seem to continue to grow. And so we're excited about your guys' journey, excited about the book. Will, you said you got some things that you're going to speak at. You guys are going to be out in Ohio at the actual museum and stuff like that. And we want to make sure you guys plug us with it. So we can go ahead and post it, and we can plug it with people that are, on our social media platforms and the fire session, so we can continue to get people exposed to this. This is history, but not only is it history, this is our history that we, so much of us don't even know. A lot of things are being just exposed, like you said, when COVID hit. We learned a lot about things like, I believe, Huntington Beach, William, that was black owned and covered up, and then Altadena with 35% black owned, and just a lot of things that occur. And it takes for things to occur for us to be like, wait a minute, what? Like
Yeah.
this belongs to us. Like it.
Yeah.
What? It's just unfortunate. So I love that this book is something that gives us snippets at heroes in our history. So I'm glad we were able to showcase this to the world, and hopefully, you know, everyone go ahead and click the link, get a book, expose your guys more. I do want to touch on something that we kind of spoke on, and just being the younger sibling of the two. And you guys are talking about history, and Benji asked a question, like, you know, about history itself and why, you know, or actually can't ask it too, the history of us and why we aren't that much like into it, and it doesn't really become something that we really want to be involved in. I could say they teach us that bland history is boring.
It's boring.
It doesn't relate. It's unrelatable. They snatched and stole our history, so we don't know. We don't know what it's like to even implement, have, and care about a history. So it wasn't until I got older that I learned more and more about parts of our history where I'm like, yo, we are dope. I want to learn more about this. I want to learn more about me. And so now I'm rooting for everybody Black. That's for real. Like, our history is just insane to me, and just to know of our accomplishments and our heroes that belong to us. And so now it's more interesting. Now history. I took a couple of courses on my history, and I love it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll speak to this all the time. And anytime I'm in a regular history course, like I'm in school and, you know, my degree and stuff that I'm pursuing, I had to take a history class. Oh yeah, I'm gonna interject our history in that lesson. I'm gonna put it in there. My report is gonna have my history in it.
It's somewhere in that story. It's in all the stories. It's in there.
Sure.
Hopefully, you guys continue to, you know, grow, because that's where I want to see you guys continue to grow too on the project, so I can continue to let people know my brother and my sister out here doing it.
in the museums, baby.
So you guys have this book out. The website that you plugged for us, we'll go ahead and make sure we do, you know, have that on our site. That you guys can buy the book. Let them know how much is the book. Said the name of the book again, just to make sure, so they know the website you plug it, just so they make sure they know where they can get it at, and then how much it costs. It's not like crazy. How much can they get the book for?
It's $35.
So it's 35. The Chronicle of Heroes: Black Contributions to America.
Yes.
There we go. That right. And look at that name.
Definitely.
Yes.
From the beginning all the way to now.
So that's the yoakumblackistory.org/shop is where you guys can get it at. Click it. It's right there. It asks you quantity, how many you want, what shipping you want. And then when it comes to the book itself, I know it's snippets about heroes. And you just want to let them know, like, what's, just to describe the book in one word for you guys, your baby. What would it be for y'all?
Oh my goodness. An epic journey. That's the words, but it is an epic journey.
Epic.
It is an epic journey, because it's taking you from that shot heard around the world to modern day.
I'd have to say, for me, one word, man, it's inspiring. Like, I mean, if you don't know, now you know. Like, you open it up, and if you don't know any of our history, like, you can flip in any one of these pages. You can open this book up randomly and just read a quick little paragraph. It should light a little flame of inspiration, and you're like, whoa, like we did that. Some of our own people did that. It's very, very inspiring. There's so many different stories in this book. So, like I said, you can open up a page and it's inspiration. If you think you can't do something, you might want to go open this book and see what some of these people have done during the times that they did.
Okay. And is there any final thoughts you guys would like to share with the listeners, and also just let us know where they can find you at as well? Sound off on that, so we can make sure everybody stays plugged on your guys' journey as well.
Listeners, my thought is go get the book. Go buy the book. Go buy the book. Buy the book.
You're gonna have some new
Um,
heroes after this. You're gonna have some new ones, some names people never heard of. You're gonna mystify people. Like, where'd you get that? Yeah.
yeah, we got, but yeah, like Denisha said, all the way from back then, we got Barack Obama in there too. I mean, like, go
Yeah.
buy the book. You got to see it. I mean, it's really, really cool. I'm very proud to be a part of it. Thank you, Sandy out there. I know you're probably listening. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
It's amazing.
I love everything you're doing.
The organization is amazing. Yeah,
the
it's amazing.
Great. Everybody on the board.
They have a Facebook, Yoakum Black History. There is a Facebook. They have a Facebook page, Yoakum Black History. They also we also have a Instagram, and Yaha is our hashtag. YAAHA Yaha. We were doing that one day. Yaha. I have, like I said, my social media name is Penelope. It's just something that came up one day. But I also do a lot of sharing of the work on there. I'm very random on my social media. You look at mine and be like, what is this child doing? But yeah, but I do a lot of sharing of the organization and what we're doing, what's upcoming. I have a Facebook called the History Diary that I now is just kind of like a sharing stage for Yoakum now, for Yoakum and Yaha. So yes. So yeah, get out there. She posts something on there every day. So even aside from the book, you're gonna get some new snippets of information.
And then, myself, I didn't say. I think I did say I'm at Will Taylor Talks. That's Instagram. WillTaylorTalks.com. It's well, they're building the website, but I mean, it exists, but it's not being built. I mean, it's being built, but I mean, it's still a landing page you could go on. So it's WillTaylorTalks.com at Will Taylor Talks. And
go to the page. You can sign up for the newsletter that comes out. I will be adding a blog shortly about dime novels and Black history. That's up and coming. And so go to my webpage, read the blogs. They do have these little characters that we're developing for kids, Harriet and Roxanne. So, and once we get all our, they already do have the comics up there now, but we're working on that to more enhance it with Harriet and Roxanne. You see Harriet and Roxanne on the website a lot, introducing the books and on the social media.
I've seen that. You see the little comic figure.
Harriet and Roxanne and their friends. Yeah, those are characters that are to appeal to children. So we're working on them, getting them better. But like I said, there are already little comics already on the site.
I think when Ken flashed one of the little things, I think it's got a little pirate hat or something or whatever. Yeah. I've seen one of those little cartoon characters on there. But yeah, okay, so that's pretty cool. So we know where to find you guys at. The Big Ken, you can take it from here.
All right. I think we've learned a lot today, but there's more to learn because you gotta buy the book. Like Will said, buy the book.
Yeah.
Go get the book and continue to learn because it's important. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color your skin is. History is history, and this history is something that you need to know as well. So go buy the book. We appreciate Will. We appreciate Denisha for joining us today. Their family, you know what I'm saying? Like real family. Patricia Michelle, those are her siblings. So we appreciate them coming through. We appreciate Patricia Michelle setting it up for us and gracing us with their presence. Listen, this has been amazing, y'all. Like seriously. But you know, it's important that you let your kids know about your history, about Black history in general. Black History Month is just a name. Black history is every day. Like y'all need to be teaching your kids something every day, letting them know things. And you know what I'm saying, help educating them on, you know, there's so many things. Like they said in the book, there's 740 pictures, and there's so much more than that 740 pictures that they have placed in their book and those people. So there's a lot to learn. So continue to learn. And but before we get up out of here, you know, you already heard from our guest, Trisha Michelle. Let the people know something. Let them know where to find you because you know they'll be looking for you.
Oh goodness. So all I can say is, and what Ken said, like it doesn't matter your color. Get the book, learn the history, because all that other stuff is sugar coated and watered down. I'm gonna just say that they're missing pieces, and we are the missing pieces, and they keep it out of there. Our history is not in there for specific reasons. Empower yourselves with knowledge. Knowledge is power. Get the book, learn about the other pieces that are missing, and learn about how great this piece of history is, because it is history. So I definitely am thankful, William and Denisha, that you guys, were free tonight to end out Black History Month with a bang, immersing us in your guys' amazing minds. You guys are beautiful minds. I've always thought that about you guys. So I love the fact that you guys are just able to come share that with us here on the Fire Session. So I appreciate you guys. I'm forever thankful. Now with William, we will circle back. He's sports, Denisha's sports history, he's sports in general. So we'll get to that and we'll do all that stuff, because they're more than just this. There's so many layers to these two here. But I appreciate you guys so much. As far as everyone else, where to find me, Trisha Michelle _TM. That's on all social media. Fire Session. If you don't follow us, don't follow me. And yeah, there we go.
All right. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people.
Now, listen, when you talk about the people that are in this book, gosh, that part is so intriguing to me. So when I mentioned the Vivian Harris, I just knew from there, if that history is in this book, there's so much more that I don't know about, that I need to look up, and that I want to do that. And this book is the pathway to really kind of do that. So I'm very interested alone in just purchasing the book, because I want to look up some more of our history. Knowing where you come from and knowing more about how accomplished our people were is priceless to me. And so when you come from a background of thugs and criminals and drama and all of that, the way you combat all of that is to find out where some positivity is and how they overcame it in a different way. So I salute both of you guys for the idea alone and putting it out there. And so I'm grateful for that. But y'all know where to find me, Benji Banks. You can't miss me. I'm all over the web like a tarantula. So I'm all right. But just continue to check out the show. Continue to watch the Fire Session. We have this proclivity to pick people who literally they trend upward. I ain't saying it's because of us that they trend upward, but for some reason, we tend to pick people who they shoot and they take off for some reason. And so I'm grateful, and I believe you guys are doing that. And I believe, God, your book will be in some museum somewhere. So set your hearts on that, and I believe that's going to happen. So.
All right, dope. Well, y'all can find me at Big Ken on Fire on all social media platforms, and Facebook. Just type in Big Ken, I'll pop right up. You can follow the Fire Session on all social media platforms. Just type in FIYAH session, and we'll pop right up. Make sure you go to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button, and hit that little bell notification so you don't miss any information. And let me reiterate this before we close out. You can't build a house without a foundation first. You can't go into the future without knowing where you came from. So this book, this information, this history, Black history, is the foundation. And we need to make sure that our kids know it, that we know it, and our ancestors, didn't do all the work and put in all the things that they put in for nothing. We need to make sure that our kids understand and know what came before us, because there was a lot of work put in. So we appreciate you all coming through. We appreciate you all blessing us. Y'all go get the book. Once again, let me flash that up on the screen for y'all to see, so y'all can get that cover. Buy the book, The Chronicle of Heroes, Black Contributions to America. Make sure you go check that out and buy a copy. Buy 5, buy 10. But y'all already know how we do it. It's the Fire Session. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Peace.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fire Session.